my phone rang. I remember thinking I found it really strange since it was Elisabet calling me. We pretty much live right next to one another, and it would have taken her less than 10 steps for her to knock on my door. I could only hear dysfunctional breathing and crying. She was really distraught and she was trying to speak, but I think all the emotions and everything she was feeling at that moment just made her not able to. I got really scared of what was going on. It was so many scenarios going through my head. The way she was lying down, half sitting, moving strangely, breathing incredibly fast, crying and hyperventilating at the same time, it was really horrible to watch. It was as she was kind of drifting in and out of consciousness. In the first few seconds, I was really distraught of how she was feeling in that moment. It's really not a nice thing. It's like everything around you is not how it should be. You're clear-headed, but everything that you're sensing is turned in every possible direction you can imagine. As I was holding her hand, just trying to breathe with her, she managed to get a few words out. But the words were only dizzy, spinning, nauseous. Everything is wrong. Everything is upside down, inside out, and you have no control. I decided to call the emergency room. It was no help at all. The only thing she asked me if she was breathing. Yes, but she was in a horrible state. She couldn't really help me any more than that. I guess it wasn't emergent enough. For Elisabet, this was probably one of the worst things she has ever experienced, and it's very frightening. All those thoughts running through your head, not knowing what is wrong with you, having the sensation that everything is wrong, and you have no control over it. You don't even control your own senses. That is a very terrifying thing to experience. There's really no words to describe it. But when an event like this happens to you, you know at that point where you're lying in bed and you're just about to fall asleep and you get that feeling of falling, that exact feeling on steroids, times a million, constantly. Not for minutes, not for hours, not for days. This constant feeling of falling. Not falling, that doesn't even begin to describe it. It's like being in 5 different dimensions, being torn in all kinds of directions at the same time, and having no control over it. A constant feeling. It's the lack of control that makes this the most exhausting thing you will ever experience. Your muscles are always tense. Your body is constantly trying to stabilize you, even though you're sitting completely still. Every fiber of your body is fighting to sit still. But you are. This is exhausting. Exhausting to the extreme where you can barely walk or you can't walk. Everything you do is strenuous. Luckily, we live across from the hospital, so I decided to wake up our other roommate, Almond, to help me to try to get Elisabet to the hospital. But this trip, that was a really hard strain on her. Me and Almond, we supported her on both sides, taking one step at a time, in the middle of the night, stopping for breaks when she was feeling way too nauseous and if she had to throw up. A trip that would have taken 2 minutes probably took 20 minutes. Once we got to the emergency room, a nurse met us and said that they were not open, that the only emergency available right now was on the other side of the city. She encouraged us not to go because it would be very expensive to go to the ER. But money was least of our problems right now. We just wanted to get Elisabet feeling a little bit better, or at least get some answers. Because knowing what is happening to you can be a big relief. If you at least have an answer or a particular thing, or a doctor telling you that this is how it is and it will pass, that can make wonders happen. After waiting for an hour, we finally got to see the doctor. Elisabet had an infection on her inner ear, and the reason for this could be a virus or a mild cold that had triggered it, something so common, and it was very likely to last for a while. So for the rest of the evening, we took Elisabet home. We gave her the medication for the nausea, hoping that that would help a little bit. I also think for her, knowing what was happening made a huge difference, because this is a terrifying experience. Something terrible is happening to you, but at least now you can reason with it, even if it's just a little bit. You know that you will be okay. It will get better. But it takes time.